What is going on, guys? It's your boy Isaiah, and we're here to talk about the dagger profile, but that's going to be in a little bit, in a few minutes. But first off, the more important thing is we're going to talk about the charity event, the cause, and kind of just some rough stuff because I don't have everything down pack right now. I'll have more information in the next upcoming weeks. Um, but I would just kind of wanted to let you guys know that this event will be for cancer, and the person that we're going to be helping, his name is Gustaves Thompson. I think that's his first name. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. But he is actually a member of the Dragon Ball Super community. Still is, even though he may not be active currently. Just to kind of give a quick background to it, he unfortunately was diagnosed with cancer about a month and a half ago. I want to say it was like October 17th. And he was diagnosed. I don't know how to pronounce the name of what he has. I'll have the link in the description to his GoFundMe. It'll have pretty much all the information that I'm telling you. But he was diagnosed with like stage four of the version of cancer that he has. And to kind of keep an unfortunate long story short, they told him you have 6 months to live without chemo and 2 years to live with chemo, give or take a few. You know how those things work. He has chosen the 2 year route, or the longer route. I won't say 2 years because he's definitely a fighter. He's trying to beat this thing, and we're gonna give him our energy, lend him our energy, and we're gonna help him fight the good fight. And yeah, that's kind of like just a quick rundown. I want to say he's on his fourth. If not, he's already done his fourth chemo treatment. I think he goes once a month, if I'm not mistaken. It's either once a month or once a week. No, it's once a week. We definitely need to help him out. He unfortunately had to quit his job. You know, you got to focus more on your health and everything like that. And for those who unfortunately have had or know people who have gone through that type of treatment, you know, it is, even with insurance, extremely expensive. I want to say they said his chemo treatments are around 6 to 8,000. So I think around 8,000 per treatment. So yeah, we definitely want to try to, you know, do it big this year, and try to help out as much as we can. But I'll definitely have more information to kind of give you guys, like I said, in the next week or two, about the stream, when it's gonna happen, all the events, kind of stuff that I want to do. But before we kind of stop this portion, I will also say that I will be kind of leading up until that day of the stream. We'll be selling a lot of stuff on the Facebook marketplaces, so Majin Buu's Candy Shop, Auction Center, maybe Zeno Black Market. And 50% of everything that I sell, no matter what the cost of it is, will be going to him. I'm going to do it all in essentially one big lump sum, so it's not just me doing multiple transactions, because that just doesn't seem, you know, easy. It's more difficult that way. And yeah, like I said, from today on forward, everything that you see me post online or sell, half of that is going essentially to him to help with whatever he needs help with. But yeah, so like I said, link to his GoFundMe is in the description if you guys just want to, you know, not deal with the whole stream or event thing, and just want to donate directly or share it or whatever. It's down in the description. So yeah, check it out, read it up, and you'll know a little bit more about Gustaves. But let's kind of hop on into that deck profile. I know it's kind of a weird transition, but yeah, I think the important part needed to be talked about first. All right, so this is the Dark Broly deck profile that the Dark Broly deck that I got 38th with. I think it was 38th, 36, 38th, something like that. It was top 25%. I went X2, so what was it? 6-2 with the deck. Um, First things first, two big shout outs. One of them is to Dahan. He showed me his list, and I adjusted it to the cards that I could get a hold of. For the most part, we're card for card. There's some differences here and there, but I won't talk about those. And secondly, Eddie, Eddie Saint Lair. He honestly, if it wasn't for his last post, Dark Broly probably wouldn't have even been on my mind. And you know, thanks to Dehan for having a list for me, or a list that he was running at the event, and I was able to kind of brainstorm from there and kind of bounce some ideas off of him and figure out certain matchups. And yeah, I think this was probably one of the better decks that I could have played at the event. Quick edit. I would also like to thank Eddie for letting me borrow like legitimately most of the deck. Also want to thank Craig. He let me borrow some cards. A lot of the gamers guys, they also let me borrow cards. So yeah, I needed to thank you guys. Appreciate it. For obvious reasons, you know, those who don't know what Dark Broly does, on the front you can attack, draw a card, um, take up to 1 life, add it to your hand, proc top 5, pick up to 330Ks, put them to the drop, rest on bottom. Or you can draw 2. One of the reasons, and backside, 3 to the from the warp to the drop, draw 1, activate battle. This is once per turn now. You can pop a 30K, make your leader essentially a 20K beater or defensive guy. So one of the reasons why I kind of decided to play this, and what like the whole core idea of this build is you kind of play this like a mid-range hand control deck in a way, and that's just kind of like the idea or what I got from it. I could be wrong. You know, Dayon's probably kicking me. It's like, bro, that's not how you play the deck. But that's kind of just how I played it throughout the day. When you kind of look at everything, your turn ones, you really don't have a turn one play. And I think that was probably the worst part about the deck. Maybe putting in something that, you know, some other cards that you could just have a turn one play, but you really don't need it because you can just prop off leader, swing, draw a card if you're going second. And on your turn 2 is really where you start playing, where you need to hit at least 2 or 3 in the first 2 turns, so you need to hit 5. So your turn 2 play is always going to be Demigra, unless you're going against like an aggro deck and you want to stop them. You could play Mecha Kabura, but Demigra is typically your turn 2 play. You swing, you grab a card out their hand, warp a guy off board, and if this sticks, this is just constant pressure towards the hand, and then you start really just cycling the Demon Realm Ravager, and you start cycling the Vegeta Feigned Greeting, and it's just constant hand control. So like when you swing Demigra, you rip a card, you play this for 1 energy, you rip another card, you overwhelm this for 6, then, you know, overwhelm for free, you rip an additional card, and then on top of that, you're still able to swing with each of these cards, bar a Fled Gate counter or something. And you're just able to apply so much pressure to their hand and their life that it spirals out of control. And then, like, you know, the Gogeta engine, and your leader also being able to pop this Vegeta after you overwhelm kind of sets up really good numbers, which is pretty cool. But to kind of talk about just every card in the deck, we obviously played a 1-of Champa. It's you're playing 30Ks. Like you're literally swinging 40K double strike in most situations. And then when you look at the Unbridled Rage, we play 3. You don't really need to play 4 of this. 3 was a perfect number in my opinion. Um, yeah, this came up more often than not. You're able to kind of keep their board really clear. And that's another aspect of the deck. You just want to keep their board clear and just constantly pressure their hand in life. Uh, the Uncontrollable Berserker, I think I only played this maybe like 2 or 3 times throughout the entire event. You're mainly focused on playing the Demon Realm Ravager, but it's just extra removal. So like when you look at the entire deck, we got Demon Realm Ravager, even the Unbridled Destruction, the Gojitas, the Pan, the Fearless Fusions, the Kai counter, the Demigra himself. Everything is just so much removal. Um, we'll skip the ball for now. And we play 2 blockers. It's obviously the worst one, but you kind of need it there just for numbers sake. If anything, you can boost this up to 3, just to have an additional count. So we do play the one 7-star ball with 3 Meki Kaburas because we can search it, but we don't play the 1-drop. Essentially, the 1-drop is only good going first, or it's only good turn 1, because turn 2 you want to be playing your Demigra, or you want to be playing like a Gogeta. You really don't want to hit it off the top because it doesn't do anything in your drop. You don't want to tap an energy for a 30k that can't swing, or rips a card out of hand, and like it's a 2-card combo. For the most part, everything in our hand and deck are theoretically 1-card combos, where you can warp 6, play a 1-drop 30k that warps a dude that's a blocker or rips a card from drop in hand. Demon Realm Ravager is the best card in the deck. He against Cell Surge, against a lot of just decks, he just applies so much pressure. Like if they're playing Draw Apes, he can rip that from the drop and rip a card from their hand, then swing 30k. It's just so much pressure. This Guardian Time, essentially this is just super combo. If you have 5 or less cards in hand, card's really good. It was good as a 2 of. I don't think I'd play more or less. 2 Kai counters. This card was actually amazing, especially against the Gogeta matchup. Just being able to stop that card from just applying so much pressure towards you. And against like opposing secret rares and stuff, especially secret rares that get like removed from the game so they don't come back. That's really good. This could potentially go up to 3 also. It just kind of depends on what you want to cut. 4 Vegeta super combos, obviously the best one, and it combos really well with the Fighting Spirit. So if you like Overwhelm and you hit the True Fighting Spirit plus the Vegeta, you can use those for Vegeta Xeno targets. And speaking of Xeno targets, we have the 3 thwartings. I'm sorry, 3 thwartings and 2 of the Fearless Fusions. This is a perfect number. This card, you can't prop it to the drop area because it's not a 30k, and you can't pop it with your leader. So sometimes this card can get stuck on board depending on the matchup. So 3 is just a good number. You see it, once you see 1 or 2, you're pretty much straight. Fearless Fusion is just there to get rid of barrier cards that are 4 or less. The Vegeta was essentially like the 2nd or 3rd best card in the deck, next to like Ravager and Demigra. This is the card that you want to overwhelm the most with. He was just amazing, especially like I said before, being able to overwhelm, play it for free, swing with it, and then swing with something else and pop it with your leader is just really good. The Goku, I probably played this the least out of every other card in the deck, just because like I pretty much almost always had something. The only times I would play this was just to grab like the brainwash and make them sequence their turns weirdly. Them knowing that I had this in hand, they just wouldn't shotgun on a double strike. 2 True Fighting Spirits. It was just there for the Cell Surge matchup, honestly. Just having an additional card to self-awaken with. 3 Gravies. This helps you hit numbers, especially with 30Ks, where like you can play your Demon Realm Ravager, and then swing combo to 35. Dump 2 cards plus this. That's 3. Then you dump 3 with your leader, and then overrun into a Vegeta. You can swing with the Demigra, swing with the Vegeta. So, like I said, you're going back to that like 3 card rip from their hand combo. Pan, in my opinion, best secret rare in the game. It just is what it is. She does so much. Free counter, stops battle cards, which is really the main source of attacking for most decks. And then can steal something, can play for free on the aggro. It's just really great. Brainwash, never use this card, but you still kind of gotta play it, to be honest with you. Demigra, this is probably the second best. It's kind of tied between that and Vegeta. This card just does so much. It's a cantrip for 2. It's 30k. It warps its removal, its hand destruction every single turn. Like, they have to deal with this on turn 2. And most decks, especially if you go first, most decks can't deal with this turn 2 unless they're Gogeta. And even then, it's like they're losing so much with this. Like, this card is just really, really good. If you're playing against Gogeta, you're not tapping 2. You play on curve. Making Gabora at 3. This card actually won me a couple games. This card's really good. And then you can once per turn grab the ball. And then we use Vegeta to bottom deck the ball and search it again, so we kind of never really lose hand advantage, but we always kind of have that +1 a turn. 2 Super Kamehamehas. This was pretty good. 1 Petrification. Good counters. And this card I never used. I always charged it. This will be the one card that comes out. You just don't need it. Honestly, I'd probably boost up a 30k or something over this Majin Buu's Extinction attack. Side deck, 1 King Vegeta. It was just a 2 cost double strike barrier. It's removal or more hand control, and then if they try to swing on my leader, they lose an additional card. So like, when you start pairing these up with other cards in your deck, and this only really comes up against Hatchiyak. That's one of the reasons why I played it, because they don't really play a lot of cards that can remove barrier. So like, when you pair this up with like turn 2 you Demigra, turn 3 you play Dark Broly Vegeta, and then you can play your King Vegeta also. So you're ripping like turn 2 1 card, turn 3 you're ripping an additional 1 2, and then if you have the Vegeta, 3, and if you have the King Vegeta, that's an additional 4. And then going into their turn, they cannot pressure your leader unless they'll lose an additional card. So, and then on top of that, they still have to stop all of these attacks from coming too. 10 drop Fu. This was literally for Hatchiyak. I did not want to lose to Hatchiyak. Fin Coercion Incarnate. This never really came up, but it's still just a good card. 2 drop Deflect Board Wipe is just really, really strong. 2 Kais. This is for the Gogeta matchup. Just if you can turn 3, you try to make it to turn 3. You make a Gabora, call 6 drop Gogeta, and then you have 1 energy up for the Kai, so this way when they start playing their 1 drops, you can just stop them from attacking with those. The combination of those 2 just stops so much pressure. Oceanus. This was pretty much for any aggro deck, but mainly Gogeta Xeno. It's just good. You kind of got to watch it though, because you don't want to get hit by the Super Kamehameha. 2 8-drop Gogetas. We sided this for Hatchiyak. It actually came up. You can also side this for Cell Surge. It'll come up. It's not that they can't KO it, because they'll definitely KO it on the following turn, because it'll be inactive, but it removes barrier cards if they play any. It's all it also just gives more hand control for a turn 4 play, because realistically Cell Surge isn't like killing you like that. They don't play a lot of battle cards, so you should be fine. Or just off matchups where you can just slap this for 4 and they're not gonna beat you. True Fighting Spirit. We sided this over the Gohan that like can snipe a life and energy, just simply because this hits a wider spread of decks. This hits the Golden Frieza, which is something that I expected a lot more people to play against, which I did end up playing against one. So I'm glad I actually sided this over the Gohan gate. And then 1 additional Petrification and Super Kamehameha, just to kind of round it off. This came up against the what was the matchup? The Hatchiat matchup for the 8-drop Go G to Xeno. And then another Super Kamehameha. It just comes up in niche matchups. But yeah, so that is pretty much the deck profile. And yeah, so that was the deck. That was the charity stream information, well, light information until I can give you more. But yeah, like the video, check out the GoFundMe in the description, and yeah, let's uh let's band together and help somebody out. But until next time, peace.